It is a continuation of video 1.4, where we have been discussing how the architecture is the vehicle for stakeholder communication, because they will represent their requirement to the architect depending on their requirement and budget as well as feasibility. The architect will construct or design a architecture, and this is how the architecture is a vehicle for stakeholder, and and architecture manifests the earlier set of design decisions. Now, the next concept is how the architecture demonstrates. Manifest means demonstration. How the architecture demonstrate manifest the earlier set of design decisions. That is, a software architecture represents a system's earlier set of decisions. These early decisions are most difficult to get correct and hardest to change later in the development process, and they have the most far-reaching effects. These early decisions are most difficult to get correct and hardest to change the later in the development process. Once the product is developed, then in the earlier stage only we can make out all the requirements. In the later, when the development process starts, in that case it is a very hardest, very difficult to change the development process. So when different requirements are collected from the stakeholders, at that time we can make the specific decision in order to get rid of this that is alignment in the software development process. And this that is the demonstration of early set of designs represents the following aspects. That is, architecture defines constraints on implementation. The architecture dictates the organizational structure. The architecture inhibits or enables the system's quality attributes. Like this, many aspects we will study further. That is, how the architecture, the first thing is how the architecture defines constraints on implementation. Because without a constraint, we cannot develop the product here. This means that implementation must be divided into the prescribed elements. The elements must interact with each other in the prescribed fashion, and each element must fulfill its responsibility to the others as dictated by the architecture. The first step is implementation of our constraints, and the next, the architecture dictates organizational structures. Okay. The normal method for dividing up the labor in charge large system is to assign the different groups different portions of the system to constraint. This is called a work breakdown structure of the system, because the software architecture is a complex structure. It is a structure of structures. It contains many elements, and all elements are of different types, and sometimes they may be dependent, sometimes they may be independent to fulfill their functionality. So in order to get rid of complexity of functionality, we need to go for the concept called work breakdown structure of the system. Means in the system there are 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the first element should do, what is the second element, what is the third, 4, so on, like this. What is the functionality of each element that to be decided priorly. This is called as a that is how this architecture dictates the organizational structure. And we move further on the further concept, that is the architecture inhibits or enables a system's quality attributes. That is, the system will be able to exhibit its desired quality attributes is substantially determined by its architecture. However, the architecture alone cannot guarantee the functionality or quality, because decisions at all stages of the life cycle, from the high level design to coding and implementation affect system quality, because once we develop architecture, it alone cannot define the quality. The quality start from the initially from the designing of the architecture, next coding, next implementation, and next testing. Like this, the product will be go into several phases. All the several phases must and should implement the quality that are desired by the stakeholders, and they have to sustain till they complete their entire functionality. This is about how the architecture enables the system quality attributes. And also we have to make a note of one point, that is to ensure quality, a good architecture is necessarily but not sufficient. It is necessary but not a sufficient criteria. It is necessary and but not sufficient. That is, quality is not completely function of a architectural design. And we will move further. The next aspect, that is predicting system qualities by studying the architecture. How do you predict the system quality? The system quality is like the security, privacy, reliability, scalability, robustness, manageability, maintainability, like this different the qualities while studying a software architecture. How do you predict this? Since from the initial phase of designing a software system to the till the end phase of implementation, that is architecture evolution technique such as architectural trade-off analysis method support the top-down insight into the attributes of software product quality that is made possible by the software architecture. To check the software qualities, the architectures were implementing the method called trade-off analysis method, and it supports the top-down insights to check the attributes of a good software. The next point is, the architecture makes it easier to reason about and manage a change, because day by day the stakeholder requirements are changing, as well as the developers work on tools. The tools were changing, the behavior of existing tools were changing depending on the requirement of users, as well as the developer, as well as the marketing people. So the architecture should make it easier to reason about and manage the change. Software systems change over their lifetimes, and every architecture partitions possible changes into three categories: local, non-local, and architectural. Whether the architectural design, it can be changed locally on the same machine, or non-locally, or the architecture, or we need to change the entire architecture. That is, local change can be accomplished by modifying a single element, and a non-local change requires multiple elements to be modified, but leaves the underlying architectural approach intact. Okay, and this is about how we have to make the changes in the architecture. To make changes, we need to consider three aspects: local, non-local, and architectural. Local, in the local change, we are just modifying a single element there, and in the non-local change, we are implementing the changes in a multiple elements, and this is how it leaves the architecture as it is intact, how we require. And next, the architecture helps in the evolutionary prototyping. And third one is architecture means we need to change the entire structure there. We need to change the entire structure over there. This is about architecture should be constructed in such a way that it is easier to make changes on time to time. And next is architecture helps the evolutionary prototyping. Evolutionary prototyping means the system is executable early in the product's life cycle. Its feasibility increases as the prototype parts are replaced by complete versions of the software. Prototype means from the one model I can make some other model. That is called as a evolutionary prototyping. That is, for example, I developed one software called ABC, and I need to develop another software XYZ. And ABC software, it is fulfilling all the characteristics that to be required in software to be developed in future, that is XYZ. So what I do, I will not start from the zero. Whatever the software already present, the software called ABC, I will take that software, and whatever the requirements are present in the software XYZ, I need the future. I need to add the features over there, and I will convert this the ABC prototype into the XYZ prototype. This is called as a architectural prototyping, or in some textbooks it is defined as a evolutionary prototyping. And in some special cases, a special case of having, or in some cases a special case of having the system executable early is that potential performance problem can be identified early in the product's life cycle. What is the potential problems that can be occurred in the future, that can be identified early, and that can be refined in the product life cycle. And next thing we need to study is, that is, architecture enables more accurate cost and schedule estimates. I want to spend the 10 lakh to develop the software architecture, and I want to launch it on some XYZ date, and the budget should be 10 lakhs, and it should be launched on the same date or what I have expected, that is XYZ date. So the cost and schedule estimates are an important management tool to enable the manager to acquire the necessary resources and to understand whether the project is in trouble or not. Because when we are developing a software architecture, some softwares are of kind, they are very the simple structures, and some software are the kind of complex structure, and some are in between. So to develop the software of a complex structure, there we require a different team of members of experts, as well as the budget will be sometimes more than the expected. Like this, different aspects we need to consider before implementing it on a real scenario. So the architecture should enable more accurate cost and schedule estimates. Okay, we'll stop the concept here, and I will continue the next concept in the next video.